So, welcome to day two. We're excited to get started. We're going to get right to it. This is a historic event, and we did this in partnership with Europe, Eureka, and IFF. And the Europeans actually support culture, which is something in the U.S. needs to learn from. And they were kind enough to allow to have our guests here. And as well, we have EJ, who is here from New Orleans, and we also have Jenn, who is here from many different festivals. I'm going to let each one of the panelists just talk a little bit about their festivals, and then we'll get right into sort of what things we can learn from each other as well. So let's start with you, EJ, and then we'll go to Signe.
Hi, I'm EJ. I'm from New Orleans, and I'm one of the producers for the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. I don't know how many of you have been to New Orleans, but it's a fabulous event. I would think our attendance hits probably close to 460,000 people, probably about 65,000 a day. And our music ranges from vintage jazz all the way to rock. We have 13 stages. We have a variety of music, we have a variety of talent, a variety of ages. I think our ages are primarily between 40 and 50, and our boomers as well. But now we're seeing that the younger people are coming in. And that's because, you know, you have grandchildren, you have children. So we're seeing that there is a multi-generational boom happening with Jazz Fest. I would say that our talent, as well as our staff, are very skilled, and I wanted to talk about our staff. Our staff primarily have been with the festival 20 plus years. So we have very seasoned people who have basically been there since they were in preschool, right? So that would be me. So they're very seasoned. They have toured. They're tour managers. We have traditional giggers who we see every year. Is that good? I just wanted to make sure I gave a little bit of background.
That's really good.
Okay, thanks.
And again, these are 4 of the largest festivals in the world represented today. And so it's just amazing to me the culture and the history that's embodied in each of them. Marta, you work in press and you're on the board of Primavera, but also you do a lot of other events as well. Talk a little bit about Primavera and some of the other events you're doing in Europe.
So I'm Marta, I'm the head of press and PR for Primavera Sound, a festival that started in Barcelona back in 2001, and that in our, let's say, flagship festival welcomes around 70,000 people per day during 3 days besides the Mediterranean Sea. It's a beautiful and brutalist venue made of concrete with 13 stages, so it is a really big festival with the likes of Lana Del Rey or SZA or Charlie XCX or Phoenix or The National this year. So from very special shows that happen in an auditorium with 3K capacity seats that it's inside of the venue, and you can enjoy from Laurie Anderson or John Cale doing experimentation to crazy K-pop bands to the biggest headliners that you can imagine. That's what we do in Barcelona. But we also have several other festivals all over the world. The second one that we started was in Portugal, and I know that lots of people from America, which is actually our third country in Barcelona, are now going to Portugal because it's really a hot spot. It's amazing. You can enjoy the country, and the festival is a little bit smaller, so maybe a little bit more kind if you are, you know, like my age. We had an edition in 2022 in Los Angeles. It was announced for 2020, but you know, hashtag pandemic, so it didn't happen. And since 2022, we also have 7 festivals in Latin America, different formats, 2 big festivals of 2 days in Sao Paulo and Buenos Aires. Then we have 3 festivals of just 1 day. And then we offer headline shows. And that's because some artists feel that Latin America is too far away, it's difficult to go there. So if we offer at least 7 stops, the tour makes more sense. So this is what we do. And I'm also the head of the board of Europe, like in YOU, which is the European Festival Association. We represent 122 festivals all over Europe for around 30 countries. So I would say that that's also a difference, and we are going to talk about what's the same, what's different between Europe and between the US. And in the European Festival Association, we do exchange a lot. We shared common problems from ticketing to booking talent to production issues. We have two working groups. One is the GO group, Green Operations group. We have the YES group, which is about security. And it is really amazing. We meet like 3 times every year to share problems and to share challenges and also to share what we do and what we love. And in the end, this is also what we are doing here during the whole conference, and especially here today, this morning, because we have so much in common that I think that it's really amazing to be here and to be able to share it with you all.
Well, thank you for that. And again, this is such an incredible alliance between all of us, because this is the only conference that does this in North America. And when they reached out, I was so excited to do it. And also to bring things full circle, you have the Rolling Stones.
Yes, we do.
Headlining, and Marty Kalner, who will be back being interviewed by Dane Cook, also filmed the Rolling Stones. So this is a real rock and roll group. I do want to say, Signe, I think Roskilde is the biggest festival in the world, but I could be wrong. It's certainly one of the largest. Talk a little bit about it.
Yes, my name is Signe Lopdrup, and I'm CEO of the Roskilde Festival Group. And yes, Roskilde Festival is one of the largest festivals, I think, in Northern Europe. It's a festival who's going on for 8 days. We call it the first days and the last days. The first 4 days, we have focused on emerging artists, and the last 4 days, all our headliner programming. So we have more than 200 music acts, and we have art and activism programming, who I think includes more than 200 artists and organizations in that part of the program. So in a way, you can compare Roskilde Festival with a city. People are moving in. It's a camping festival, and they take part and live and participate in the city for the whole festival period, the whole 8 days. Mostly of them do that. When the festival city is alive, there are more than 140,000 inhabitants in the city. We have 30,000 volunteers taking part every year. And we have been a non-profit festival from the first day. The first edition was in 1971. And you can say that Roskilde, in a way, is a fundraising event more than it is just a music festival. So we are fundraising to our purpose, who is to give life to young people's dreams. So in the festival history, we have fundraised more than $72 million and have given it out in donations to support and give possibilities for young people and children.
That's wonderful. Jenn, you want to talk a little bit about your festivals?
Sure. My name is Jenn Yacoubian. I am the EVP for Goldenvoice, primarily a West Coast promoter. I do local shows all over LA and worked on a number of festivals throughout my years there, but the 3 current ones that I am currently buying for is the sole buyer for Splash House, which is a local festival in Palm Springs. It's an electronic festival that we're entering our 11th year. In our 10th year last year, we got a declaration from the city. There's an official Splash House Day. We've had some of the first headline performances for Rufus Du Sol, Justice, so really proud of the growth of some of those artists that we've been able to highlight on a large platform early on. I am the buyer and producer for another event called Cruel World in Captivina. we're in our third year for that event. Good? Huh? Thank you. Yeah, all good. All good. We know how to roll with the punches. We're promoters. We're problem solvers. Third year of Cruel World in Pasadena, California. It is a more genre-specific festival that focuses on the culture of dark wave, new wave, some industrial music. It's had great success. It has a loyal, dedicated fan base. I'm one of them. I love that show so much. This year we have Duran Duran, Blondie, Interpol, Placebo all headlining. Last year we brought Susie back to North America for her first time in 15 years to headline the show. And it's a wonderful event. And then I'm also one of the core talent buyers for Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival, which started in 1999 out in Indio, California, just about 2 hours from here, in one of the most idyllic settings that you've ever seen, just gorgeous mountains, palm trees, the craziest sunsets. And we've been able to really build that festival as well, showcase a lot of international talent, give them kind of a lot of artist platform in North America, alongside kind of, a lot of bands that were tried and true to the early days of Goldenvoice as well. So it's an event that we're all super proud of, and we all live and breathe it.
Wanted to set it up so that we could talk about, since most of the festival producers here are probably sort of aspiring, perhaps, or maybe not aspiring, but trying to find their own lane to grow and succeed as these folks have. So I'm going to ask each of you, what are sort of the core values as you move each year through the festival that helps you stay in your lane, don't go bankrupt, don't have, we all have fear of catastrophes happening, but give me some of the key things, because I know with this event, I always have key things, bullet points in my head that drive all my decisions. Talk a little bit about that for our festival producers who would love the takeaways from the successful festivals like yours.
I'll start. So I think our key value would be the culture of New Orleans, making sure that we're always promoting the culture. And in New Orleans, there's so many subcultures. If you know about New Orleans, you know that there are brass bands, there are Mardi Gras Indians, there are all types of traditional jazz clubs and avenues, and so we're all about supporting the culture. So the culture of music, the best music, I would have to say, I know I'm biased, the best music in the world. And the other thing is our food. We are a culinary delight, right? So we have 60 food vendors, so that tells you right there that if you come to Jazz Fest, you are going to definitely have the best food experience in the world. So I would say that celebrating our music culture is very important to us. Making sure that we're celebrating the traditional cultures. We have Native American, we have people who are traditional in the architecture of New Orleans and Louisiana. So it's such a wide facet, but our goal and our focus is to give joy. I would say that our team, it is all about joy. We want to definitely be the poster children for the escape-seeking theory, right? That when you come to New Orleans and you come to Jazz Fest, everything else goes by the wayside. And when we have beautiful weather, we're all on cloud 9, although we know people have learned to have a great time in the mud in New Orleans, right? So we're used to water as well. I would also say that teamwork is so important. Team development, we are all about our teams feeling nurtured and making sure that we are the most organized, the most detailed, although looking at the big picture, team that we can be. Like I mentioned, the majority of us have 20-plus years experience. I've been there for 34 years. So because this has become our life, we make sure that our teams and anyone who comes into our space is going to feel like they're part of the family. Now, we produce the festival productions, for the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival and Foundation. So we produce the festival for a nonprofit. The festival has been in existence since 1970. So we are making sure that we are bringing revenue so the foundation can exist for a long time to come. So I would say that supporting the foundation is very important to us, making sure that we're giving joy to everyone who touches the field, teamwork, team development, and supporting the culture and the music of the festival.
One of the most interesting things EJ said to me when we were on a panel in New Orleans was that she walks through the festival as if she were an attendee. And I thought that was so fascinating to put her mind to, so that experience, permeates throughout. And that's a really thoughtful way to approach producing a festival. What would you say?
I would say that probably there are three main points that make Primavera sound special. First one is not our merit. It's that we happen in Barcelona. I've never been anywhere, and someone has asked me, so where are you from? And I say, I'm from Barcelona. And said, Barcelona. And everybody loves the city, so people come to enjoy the Mediterranean Sea, the good weather. It is a very cool city, and the festival happens there. So you just go, you party from 4 p.m. to 6 a.m. You go to your hotel, you feel refreshed, and then next day, paella, and let's repeat again. So I think that that's really, really cool. People come to the festival because it is really intertwined with what we do. Barcelona and Primavera Sound are the same, and we try to find cities in the world that share somehow this coolness, this passion, this appetite for everything. Second one would be gender values, gender balance. In 2019, we became the first festival ever in the world to achieve a 50-50 split. Of course, a festival with 220 acts. If you're programming something smaller, it's of course valuable, but achieving something like that in 2019 was quite an achievement, and we pledged to do that since then. Last year we were invited to the UK Parliament, and I was on maternity leave, and I received a message like, hey Marta, we are from the British Parliament, and I was like, okay, is this Truman Show? Where's the camera? But yeah, I said, no, someone from the BBC just dropped your name. I think that you should come here because we are conducting an inquiry about misogyny in music. And they were talking to festivals, they were talking to media, they were talking to musicians, they were talking to unions, to record labels, to see what was wrong in music business for women and how we can change that to make it a better environment for everyone. And they invited us to go there. It was so weird. There are carpets that you can touch because they are green. That's the House of Commons. The red ones are the House of Lords. Don't go there. It was really weird. And the result of that inquiry was just released 2 weeks ago with very specific recommendations for the British government to make into law. And this is not only something that affects us, women, but it's a better environment for absolutely everyone. And when you walk at Primavera, you find that the crowd is so diverse. Very young girls, first festival ever, enjoying with their girlfriends, having fun. Queer boys that think, okay, yeah, this is my place, and they can go and express themselves and be covered in glitter or whatever they want to. Then you have like 50 plus guys that are there for Nick Cave or for, I don't know, Massive Attack, stuff like that. And it's so diverse, and it is amazing. And the third point would be, it is about the music. We are not a festival that goes maybe so much for the experience. Of course, we do have lots of food trucks. We only work with local vendors, but it is about the music. We release the lineup all at once. We think that it makes sense to see it all at once. And then you can say, okay, why are these people booking Lana Del Rey and a K-pop band and a very weird metal band from Belgium? It is because we want to think that the perfect day at Primavera, you will see your favorite act that you have never been able to enjoy. The second one would be your next favorite band. The third one would be something that challenges you, because, okay, why are these guys dancing with flashlights and doing weird choreography. So it can be a metal band and you are like, I don't understand this. And the fourth one would be laughing and dancing and seeing the sun coming from the sea until it's 6 a.m. So with those 4 elements, you have a perfect day at the festival. And I think that's important, because something that challenges you and something that makes you have fun, it is not that easy. So I would say those 3 ones.
You know, what I love about that is I encourage all of you to have that same mission statement, that elevator pitch, and that will guide you. That will be your roadmap throughout your festival, because if you lose your way, that's where you get in trouble. Thank you for that. And it is no accident, it's all women up here, by the way. Okay, Signe. Am I saying that right? I'm saying it wrong.
It's called Signe.
Sin. Oh, I like it. I like it
Yes.
even better. Okay, Sin, talk about
Yes,
Roskilde.
yes, but as I told, we are very purpose-driven because we are a charity organization. So in that way, you know, our purpose is given. We have to be here for the next generations. We are supporting young people and give them possibilities through our festival work. And of course, we do it through our donations, but also in the way we work. So we really have to look into how to be sustainable and how to make the world a better place to be. So, of course, we do it in our own way of working. We have 4 bottom lines, and I think the 3 of them will be very, that will be very maybe basic. You know, it's environmental, it's social, and it's economical, so we can make our charity. But we also, the 4th is artistic. So we have always gathered people and made communities through arts. So that's the way we work. So we always have those 4 bottom lines as a perspective of how we are doing things and how we make decisions in the organization. So yes, our purpose is to make this world better, and the way we work, we want to inspire all the volunteers, all the people who are joining the festival and living in the festival city by doing it a little bit better.
Thank you.
I would echo what EJ was saying. I think I work on very different festivals in talent, but the underlying theme is how do we make sure this person has fun? We want to, you know, make sure we're genuine in the bookings, that it feels accessible for any fan of music to want to come, to be able to have fun, not take yourself so seriously in the bookings. I was having a meeting about this yesterday for a new festival, and we were like, we need to be able to push that through in a poster. Like, maybe you don't know number 1 or number 2, but where do you see, you know, in the middle that like this resonates with me as well? So I think in booking, that's something that, you know, we always look at, especially, you know, with properties. I remember during the pandemic, we were talking about the like impending, do we reschedule this? Do we push it? Do we go to 2021? When is the right time to do this festival again? And we looked at this photo of 2 women running in the field, barefoot, holding hands, smiling. And we were like, when you can do that again, that's when we want to do this again. So, and also I think, you know, there's so many festivals now. There's so many genre-specific festivals, multi-genre festivals. And so it's really in keeping up with the experience here. You know, what else can we do outside of talent to make a fan want to return year after year, that it doesn't feel stale? You know, do we add in a new secret bar that you get a hint to of like where that is? Do we add in a new, you know, art installation, right? Do you change those out? Because we have some that are fixtures there. You know, we have the Spectrum now for 5 years. Like, how do we elevate those experiences for fans? Because especially for Coachella, you know, in Pasadena, you go to the show, most people are local. A lot of people travel in for that show, but you go home. Coachella, like, it's an experience. You're there for 4 days camping. You know, how do how do we keep elevating that experience for a fan to keep wanting to return?
Let's turn a little bit to safety and security. In my studying European festivals, which I get most of my information from European festivals, they are much more developed discipline, quite frankly. But the one thing I will say about Americans is once they take it on, they go full bore. So let's talk a little bit about, I know I'm bringing two subjects up, but they're really probably two of the most complicated issues when it comes to festivals, particularly security. There's nothing more important than security. And the way things are going right now between weather and harm and all this harm reduction and all of these things. Let's get a little bit into it so we can give the audience some tips about things that they can do, because when one festival fails, all festivals fail. Fire Festival was the worst thing for the festival industry. It was, right? So that's what the media covers. They cover disasters. So we are always planning for that. And also we don't want to have any human toll taken on any of these. But also sustainability. We are not really carbon footprint friendly. And I know there's different strategies amongst the Europeans and the Americans. So talk a little bit about yours, just a little bit, and then I'll have each one of you answer that.
Sure. So I guess if we think about where we are right now in the world, or specifically the United States, and we've just looked at the incident with the Super Bowl parade, right? So we know that we have to have safety as our number one issue. We have to make sure that our crowds are safe, our audience is safe, our artists are safe, our staff is safe, and everyone feels safe. They have to have that psychological safety, right? And I do agree with Laurie. I'm teaching a class, and the manual that I'm using is from the UK, because they have developed the best structure for how to manage special events and festivals. So we can learn a lot from the structures and the operations and the systems they've created. And our team in New Orleans are very, very cognizant of safety, making sure that we're identifying any pinch points or any areas where we need to do better, or we need to evaluate and have better feedback. Of course, we have our event management plans, our safety management plans. We're making sure that we're communicating with our audience at all times through whatever channels that are available to us, whether it's social media, whether it's on the video screens, because the audience needs to feel safe and they need to feel in touch with us, right? We also have a very sophisticated camera system on our grounds where we're able to, peruse and look at what's going on at all times, to look at areas where we may have to have more queue management or more crowd management. We have variations of security staffing, whether we're having our local police, whether we're having our in-house security safety teams there. So and we're having constant meetings. I mean, people laugh because our meetings are no less than 2 hours. I don't, nowadays when they say, you gotta have a meeting in 20 minutes, I'm like, no, you can't have a meeting in 20 minutes. You can't be totally comprehensive, totally detailed oriented if you're trying to have a meeting in 20 minutes. Because how will you learn each other? How will you learn each other's lanes and how to move and how to respond as our festival operations director responds, as my public and safety liaison respond if I'm not meeting with them. So we have constant meetings. Now that we have technology, and if we have weather issues, we don't have to all meet in a trailer at 7 a.m. in the morning. We can get on Zoom. I can be in my pajamas at my house, and I can find out what I need to do to alert my team, because we have to be proactive. You've seen the weather events that we have. And what we're seeing forecasting is that it's going to get hotter.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that our audience is comfortable. They have enough water, they have enough shade, they have enough misting. So these are some of the things that we're looking at with regards to safety and making sure that everybody's safe.
Yeah. Why don't we do safety first, and then we'll come back to sustainability, because they are totally different. Let's talk about what you're doing.
In our case, I think that it's probably a more manageable festival because we don't have a camping site. I do believe that for people who have a camping site, They are so oriented on how to make that the best experience for everyone, that they have access to nice showers and to water, and that everyone is sleeping and feeling safe, but we don't have that, so we just have, to open the gates, and then everybody is in, so it is different. I believe that in our case, we opt a lot for prevention more than having to act on anything that's happening on site. We do have a very diverse crew, as I was saying before. Our crowds are coming from almost 70% are from abroad, and we have 30% locals. And I think that people who come to our festival know what we stand for, and that makes it a very safe festival. They can feel that they belong, and that if someone has some crazy idea about doing something that is not tolerated, they know that that won't be tolerated. So I'm very happy and knocking on wood to be able to say that since I've been working there since 2016, we have never ever had a big issue. We do have an anti-sexual harassment protocol. We have patrols that are going all over the venue, and in case that you're not feeling safe, or someone is just making you uncomfortable or whatever, you can go to points, you can talk to someone, and we also encourage people to tell someone, hey, I've seen someone that feels, I don't know, disoriented, or they don't feel comfortable, but that's like the highest problem that we have encountered. So I think that's really amazing, and also, and I don't want to be too controversial here, but of course, in Europe, we don't have a problem which might be guns.
Oh.
So I guess that in the issue of safety, that takes a lot of pressure away from us.
Yeah, amen to that. I will say culturally, having gone to Glastonbury many times, I'm so impressed by, you could be packed with people and no one pushes. Everyone is very polite, and I felt, as an American, oh my God, this could turn into a catastrophe. There was none of that at all. So there may be some cultural norms there that add to that.
Yes, in Roskilde Festival, we had a very bad accident back in year 2000, and since that, safety and crowd management has been the highest priority. And of course, I agree with everything you just said. You have to really take that work seriously, but I think I could add that here we in fact have a very, very strong cooperation throughout Europe, and we have a very, we exchange our knowledge, and we have a very high education level. Yeah. And I think that's maybe the most important when it comes to safety and crowd management, that you give it the highest priority, and that you look into your education level and your way of sharing knowledge, because we can only be better if we can go into the mistakes who are going on. And I know for our staff that it's really a problem in US, that it's so important to share what went wrong and what didn't we do good enough. So we have to change that if we should make more safe gatherings.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, just a second. In that aspect, I wanted to stress that within Europe, the European Festival Association, the biggest exchange group is the YES group, is the Security and Safety group, and they do have special workshops every year, just to share innovation, to share knowledge. And then only the people who are devoted in every team go there. I don't have anything to offer there, so I don't go. But Roskilde is leading the YES group within Europe, and that makes it incredibly powerful and useful for everyone who doesn't know how to do it. It's not only about big festivals. You might have a festival for 1,000 people, and you say you can join it, and you can learn from the very best. So I think that's a great, great idea and one of the best projects that we do have in Europe.
I think we're so fortunate that we have so many methods of communication now that we didn't have before or didn't lean into before. We've really started to lean into messaging on the iMags, push notifications through the app, not even through the app, push notifications locally. I think it starts too with just great relationships with your local entities, like your fire department, your police department. We had a situation last year in Pasadena where we had to do an evacuation due to weather. And that doesn't happen in Southern California. And the fans were very confused. There was no rain, but there was lightning within 2 miles of an open field, which is extremely dangerous, and called for a mass evacuation of the show. And we were able to really, be supported by the fire department, and they supported us in messaging and everything, because that was confusing for the fan to understand why this show just got shut down. And they worked with us through the next day to be able to put it back on for people so that they could come the next day as well. So those relationships are just so invaluable, and being able to just within, back of house communicate with everybody. Like you said, like it isn't, a mandatory 7 p.m. meeting. It's like, no, we have, different apps that we use, right, that we can push through to everybody in case cell towers are down. And so I think that's the most important thing, because, back of house, front of house, patron, whatever, you need to be able to communicate your situation clearly so that it's not frightening or confusing or any of these other things.
May I add one thing?
Of course.
And so, just piggybacking off of what everybody's saying, it's important for you, if you're producing a festival, is to have tabletops. You need to make sure that I can't stress meetings enough, that you have to go through the preparation of how to respond in a case of a crisis or a security issue that comes up, even if it's weather. We have weather professionals on the ground, so we always have access and we always know what's going on. But tabletops, and also having people on your staff who are credentialed. It's very important, and if you have staff, to make sure that they get credentialed. Help them to seek out those conferences, those safety conferences. It's important that you stay relevant and most up-to-date, especially with things moving as quickly as they are. You just want to make sure you're as adaptable as you can be.
No, I think it's true. There really is nothing more important at the end of the day. It's great to have all these great bands and all of these amazing experiences, but the safety of the patrons is obviously paramount. We're going to pivot to talk a little bit about sustainability quickly, because there'll be more about that, and that is a focus here. In fact, hopefully many of you have been tracking your carbon footprint, which is something we initiated here because we're going to share the results, because this is so important. Talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to open up for questions. So give us a little bit of what do you think the main things that festivals can do to be a little bit more sustainable?
Well, I'd like to start by being really transparent, because I'm from the South, and we are well behind the 8 ball in being sustainable, right? It's just very hard, very complicated, very expensive for us to do what's right in the South. And I would say this is really our 3rd year. The festival is 53 years old, but I'm being transparent. This is our 3rd year that we have now moved into an extremely active phase of being more sustainable, whether it's composting, whether it's single-use plastics, whether it's taking those hard to recycle plastics and being involved in a circularity project with Shell, and just having...
Which is here.
Yes. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, wonderful. So having that project, which is really important, cooking oil, even cigarette butts. Now, I had to look this up because our team is now, it's like, this is the first thing we're going to do this year. This is something new, where you take cigarette butts, you take the paper, it's recyclable, you take the foam, the butts part, and you're making furniture out of it. And I'm like, really? So they're going to be picking up cigarette butts. And I mean, these people are so enthusiastic. This is what they live for. The sorting, the hauling, everything. And so you want to make sure that whoever you have on your team, that they live it and they breathe it, right? So I really think, now we can say we have a 20% diversion rate. Is that good? I'm sure compared to some of the other festivals, it's not. But to us, I'm still applauding the fact that we've moved in a positive direction, right? Because last year we increased by, I think, 70% in the amount of waste that we were able to divert. So I think each year we're getting better and getting stronger, and we're totally cognizant of the fact that sustainability is the way we're supposed to go.
In our case, it has been also one of our priorities for many years now. In 2019, because of this gender balance lineup, the UN approached us through the Sustainable Development Goals campaign, and they said, okay, we would like to partner with you, because UN is not always very sexy, but music festivals are. So they said, okay, we would like to be in touch with younger people, so would you like to partner with us? And we said yes, and it's a blessing and it's a curse, because the more you know. The more you know, and you start looking around and you only see the flaws everywhere. Like, okay, yeah, that stage is not fueled by power energy, first by solar energy yet. Okay, we should get that one as well. Or, I don't know, we don't have enough vegan options. They're like, yeah, but you do have like 5 food trucks. It's not enough, okay? So, but I like to think that it is a process. This is something that I have on my fridge. I took it from Reeperbahn Festival. They were delivering stickers, and it's just a circle, and it says it's a process, it's a process, it's a process, it's a process. And sometimes it is so overwhelming. Where do I start? I don't know. My house is a mess. So just start with that rule, okay? And ask people who know how to do it. In Europe, we have this association, which is called, first it was Arena Festival, and now they are called Arena Future. And they do amazing work, and they can give you some consultancy, and they also deliver some awards, and they can come to your house and say, hey, your house is not clean, but don't worry, it will be. So asking for help, finding experts, and say, okay, it is a process, because otherwise it is so overwhelming. You don't know where to start. So I think that every step that you take in the right direction, that's what you need to do. But of course, if you, and now she's going to explain, if you look at Roskilde, you say, like, okay, yeah, not Roskilde Festival. Not good, not good, not good. Okay, it's nice to have something to aspire to, but slowly, slowly.
Well, you just start with one step at a time. In fact, the company Neil Vasada is here. He powered the solar stage that Billie Eilish had at Coachella. So those are the little steps that you can do to create a more sustainable, and they're baby steps, of course, just like everything else. But Roskilde is a great example of how to do it correctly.
Yes, in a way, sustainability has always been a way, has always been a part of our work and totally integrated. It's like it's in our DNA, and we don't have a sustainability strategy. Our strategy is sustainable.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to make the world a better place to be, and all the crises we are looking into right now, they are really connected in a way. You can say that the nature and the climate crisis is also connected to the well-being crisis for young people. And you have to take that broad-minded look at sustainability if you really want to make change. So I totally agree. We shall take one step at a time, and we shall do better every year. But in a way, you can say that the sustainability when it comes to the green bottom line, it's basic.
Yeah.
That's a new way of being in the world. And then you have to look at all the other stuff. How can you inspire young people? How can you give young people hope that there will be a better future, because if we don't make that happen, and if you don't inspire through art, through the way you build communities, there will be no people who can move forward and make this world better.
No music on a dead planet, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's incredible. I look at so many, like European festivals, because it just feels like you guys are just so far ahead, and it is daunting, and you're just looking for, linear growth, right? Just one foot in front of the other here. What can we do next year? I'm so happy that it has become a topic that is important to consumers and customers and people who go to festivals now, where that felt like maybe that wasn't the case, a decade ago. And they're looking for it now. And there's wonderful companies that we can partner with now that are making, an impact on this and are helping what feels like an impossible task to start, like you were mentioning, start to chip away at it a little bit. I noticed your R-Cup activation, we've been using them now for a couple of years on our festivals, getting rid of single-use plastic 2 years ago. So it's just chipping away at it. And how can we, it's kind of like the festival experience. How can we just keep doing better and not go backwards, right?
So I wish we had more time, but I do want to say that if you want to hear Signe and Marta, they are doing a roundtable this morning, correct?
It's at 2 after the absolute highlight of this festival, which is called Puppies Palooza. I'm here for Puppies Palooza. I'm very sorry. I don't care about anything else. So at 1 p.m., puppies. At 2, us.
I can't think of a better way to wrap this up. Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it.
Are you getting to the next one? You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay. This is. Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to day 2. Just some quick announcements. There's coffee, as you know, and everyone needs, is right outside. Puppy Palooza is at 1 o'clock. We have a new panel starting in about a few minutes, Marketing to the Middle, and there's also a round table in the other room. So everybody knows. Say hello in a second.